one.
All
And
right.
David, if you would like to have a self plug of anything that we can support you on in terms of projects or anything, please feel free to do
Insert
that as
now.
well. Yes.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Unfortunately, everything I work on is top secret until it comes out. So I have a few TV things and a couple of movie um, deals going on, but I can't really talk about it. I do have a video game that I'm in called Steam Dolls, which is an indie game out of France, which is coming out later
Cool.
this year. So I can talk
Cool.
about that. And then of course next year I have um, the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater as Metal Gear Delta. They're remastering the whole game. It's going to be spectacularly beautiful, and that will still star me, which is nice.
That's
But
awesome.
those are the only ones I can really talk about at the moment.
Awesome.
Well,
And
we'll
you
look
do
out
a
for
lot of
the.
Comic-Con stuff, right, David?
I do about 10 Comic-Con appearances per year in various cities. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your next appearance?
Well, my next appearance is Metal Gear Con 2 on July 20th in Long Beach. And then I'm doing the Tampa Comic Con in end of August. And then I'm doing Asia PopCon in Kuala Lumpur in September. So
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, my wife and I are going to fly to Malaysia for and spend a week in Kuala Lumpur, which should be pretty amazing.
Sounds
That's
incredible.
incredible. Yeah, we've got Halo Bears in Malaysia. We've got Halo Bears everywhere. So if you
See you
guys
in
are in the
KL.
area and want to go and say hi to David, there
Yeah,
you
AJ
go.
just said see you in KL. I would love it.
Cool.
Well,
Do we
we'll
have
look forward
anything
to all
else in
your
the chat?
things when they can be talked about.
Thank you.
But
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get to the show because I have nothing to plug for myself, so we're just gonna start screen recording here.
Thank you for
All right, so
hosting,
give
Phan.
me
We'll let that be your plug
Yeah, thank you,
Okay.
Phan.
Thanks.
for
No
reaching
problem.
out.
All right, so I'm just gonna share this. And you should be able to.
Oh, our nuns.
You guys
Our
able to
amazing
hear?
nuns.
Not yet. It's still loading up.
Once it starts, yeah.
Gotta let Alexia in.
This
There we
first
go.
part is in Latin.
yes, I can hear it.
Anyone know
Shannon's
how to read
book.
it?
Perfect.
Yes, private education.
Just want to
I wish
point
I
out
could speak Latin.
how gorgeous all of these
Story of the
locations
death
are.
of the
And this
angel
is what
Adriel.
shooting in Spain gets you. You
As
get
the
so
first
much
warrior nun,
scope and beauty
Ariana formed the Order of the Cruciform Sword,
out of the
gathering women who
locations.
were dedicated to the church, willing to fight
Neil's artists
and
are
die for their
fantastic in
beliefs.
this too. Just the
The
What's
props
that?
and
Adriel was
everything in
proud
general.
Oh,
of her
The
oh no, no,
artists and
no.
the
but
props.
gifting her his
The
sacred
costume
halo
design, the
forced him
production
to
design,
live as
like
a
they're
mortal
all
man
geniuses.
and
Like
die as one.
so far beyond what we should have been able to
His
afford.
remains were placed in a tomb of honor at the center of the necropolis,
Oh, do you
an
want
ancient city of
subtitles?
the dead.
Yeah,
For
Fan, maybe
decades, people
subtitles
felt
would
immense power
help with
radiating
that.
from Adriel's tomb.
Alright.
It became a place of pilgrimage. Some people brought the sick and dying who it was said
You
were
could probably
healed.
close caption it, Fan, in
Others
the
felt a rush of strength, which
Netflix
they used
Oh
itself.
yeah,
to
why am I
It's
not?
just
Down,
above
down
it.
at the bottom there. Yep.
The power
Yeah.
from the
I'm
tomb
not
could be
techni-
used for good
technically
or evil,
savvy.
and its reputation as a
You're
holy
good.
site became legendary. Until the sisters decided that the otherworldly energy was too powerful for ordinary people to withstand.
We're also very proud of
Adriel
this
locked
idea that
away
we
an
had
enormous
we
stone
set up the
crypt
bones, and
where
that
a
the
door
bones
would
had
be
all this power and
Manus'
just the
finest
bone.
stone
It's
was
like
placed,
such an
sealing
archaeological
the angel's resting
thing, and then
place forever.
finding this dude
To frighten grave
still alive
robbers,
after
warning symbols
thousands
were
of years, I
carved
thought
into
would
the
be a
stone
nice.
over the words
Adriel
Defuntus
jump scare.
Requiem.
Yeah, right.
What does that mean?
In the words of B, what the fuck?
Over time,
Right.
the tomb was forgotten, buried by weather and earth, until a new city rose up on the site. Vatican City.
Who came up with that intro part there, David? For like
This?
the yes.
Well, that would have been a combination of Simon and Winston Hagelson, who was our visual effects producer, and he and Simon are like best friends, and so we get so many
Shannon
more
would think
visual
that the
effects than we can
unnatural
afford,
energy of the
thanks
angel
to him.
bones could control demons.
That's awesome.
That it is in fact what anchors demons to our world.
Oh shit.
She suspected the church had known all along.
Adios, Jose. Hasta
Wow.
luego.
Have you heard this before?
I have. A devil's bargain to keep people reliant on the church. As long as there's darkness in the world, people will turn to us for light. I refused to believe it.
But Shannon did. It adds up. The walls of the tomb are too thick for anyone to break through.
Except the warrior nun, who can phase inside.
If the Ready becomes Pope, he
Yeah,
could order the Halo Bearer to phase
that's
into
a
that tomb
plot
and
hole,
grab the power
'cause
for himself.
only Alba can phase inside.
Maybe
Warrior
he
Nun
did,
couldn't phase before
But
her.
Shannon would never do such a thing. He wanted a Halo Bearer he could control. That's why he
That makes
pushed
sense,
out
yeah, 'cause they all have
everyone
different
who wasn't
powers.
loyal to him.
Yep.
Now do you believe me?
I still don't understand how it benefits the Ready to take the bones for himself.
The journal said control. He who bears the relic of Adriel shall be the lord of demonkind. He could weaponize them. Use them to possess and destroy his enemies.
We have to get into that tomb before the Ready. If we get those remains and they are what Shannon said they are, will that be enough proof for you?
Yeah, Vincent's
Suppose
like,
it would have to be.
it's like, I don't know.
If Adriel's bones
We'll
really
see.
are driving people to belief, wouldn't removing them weaken the entire Catholic faith?
That's the difference between us, Beatrice. I care more about my sisters than my church.
That's hardly fair.
Look at it like this. If we get rid of Duretti, we can get the OCS back together.
Ava, the journal says that the tomb walls are 11.5 dira thick. That's 20 feet. It's
We
a
had to
long
look
way
up how
face.
people
We're not
measured
in and out of
distance in
Shannon's secret room, remember?
biblical times.
Remember when you got stuck in 2 feet of cat's cradle walls?
So
Yeah.
Dira.
Sister photograph
Dira.
memory?
And how are we going to find this tomb buried under centuries of dirt?
Camilla,
in a labyrinth of
Olivia's
ancient catacombs
just
under the Vatican?
such a beating heart of
Yes, the
joy.
expert.
She's so sweet in person too.
Oh,
She's
she's
really
just
nice.
she's just adorable. Such a great actress.
Oh God, you're back.
Yeah.
Love that line.
We need to speak
God,
to
you're
Mr.
back.
Schaefer.
So you want me to help you break into the Vatican, escalating my problems with the church by a number
Thecla,
of magnitudes?
both of these actors are astounding.
Him?
I also
Yes.
love
We were
working with
hoping Mr.
Thecla.
Schaefer might help us locate Adriel's tomb.
I love
kind
her,
of
like her
detail?
office and the artifacts
I need a
around
piece of
it.
tree.
Like that was such a
The
cool,
big
like
pit
little
cat
details.
homes.
We'll also need
Yeah,
bricks
we
to
wanted to
construct
make
solid berries of
her
various thickness.
a billionaire, but
20
not
feet.
like
What's
classic,
in it for us?
you know,
If the bones are as
glass
powerful as the
and
journal says,
whatnot.
then maybe we can use it to power
But
your
we
machine.
wanted to use a combination of Spanish architecture and rich people stuff. And then you get these amazing castles, like, you know, you just go shoot in them and the light bounces off of them in such beautiful ways.
Absolutely.
And Lorena is
That
so
wig
good as
sends
the,
me every time.
oh, the wig. God. That was my first thing when I got to Spain in season 2. I was like, okay, the wig has got to go. And we need
We
to
thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
that.
that.
Thank
I
you.
was like, we need to figure, because I worked on X-Men and getting Halle Berry's white wig good is so difficult. And we had so much more money on X-Men that I was like, we have to think of something else.
Definitely. Yeah, her hair is natural here, but
This
the
is
other
what
one
you
was
asked
rowdy.
for, no?
Oh, yeah, it's-
no, I'm just surprised.
Well, it's the dull gray. It's like she's
You have
becoming
to try and
a
break
grandma
that.
nurse
Thank
or
you,
grandma nun.
Dr. Salvius.
Good luck.
Do you have a brick guy?
Going to keep
I love
studying the
that. It's
journal.
just billionaires can get their hands on whatever they want.
Let's do it then. Right on. Cake.
And Alba's just such an embodiment of joy and recklessness, and
Still, you know I crushed
she's
it.
so good.
What's next?
I remote accessed the Vatican digital archives, compiled them in our data processors, partially mapping the catacombs beneath the Vatican.
So where's the tomb?
This is all true, by the way. There's
Searchers were only able to
massive
access
catacombs beneath the
37%
Vatican,
of the tomb.
and I believe they're not all
I say we take our
mapped
chances.
at this point.
Find
No,
So,
they aren't.
That would take months.
yeah, we found this, and I think it's called the Necropolis. I get confused as to what we made up, and what we didn't, but I think it's called the
It
Necropolis.
might identify
And,
parts of the tomb, but
it's just so cool when you get stuff like that and you can put it into a fictional show.
Decades ago.
Can you describe the map?
I know what it looks like, but
Absolutely.
it's gone. Well, you need to know the black market to even begin to look for it.
Who would know the black market? Surely not Vincent.
I think I may be able to help.
One day we'll get him to do a live interview and ask him all the questions.
All right. Look at this building.
All of the fresh frescoes that they did for this too, like what incredible work.
Yes.
Yeah, Barbara Perez Solo, our production designer, if we needed a fresco, she would print it up off the internet and then print it onto a giant canvas, and then they just paste it up. It was incredible what they did.
Super cool. Lorena
Aw.
just mentioned in this scene how surreal it was to see like what would be your funeral as like
Yeah.
a person in real life.
Yeah.
How like a visceral experience that was, and you can just see it on her face. The way she portrays it is really cool.
Yeah, she does a beautiful job. And yeah, we just thought it'd be so cool for her to come back and see the aftermath of her own funeral. We're a cruel bunch.
Somebody there.
We are the capricious gods of Warrior Nun. And then Sister Crimson. I love Sister Crimson.
Oh,
Just-
Sister Crimson.
She's just such a psychopath.
Was her name pulled from the comics? Because there is a Crimson Nun comic.
Is there?
Yeah.
We did pull some names from the comic books, Ariella, and so yes, we probably found Crimson.
What happened in there?
She peed a little.
really
I think we found Crimson's name in the comic books.
Sucks. After a few feet, I got disoriented and bailed. It's like
I like
solid
this
and my
description
wall is phasing around me.
of phasing. I think this was Matt Bosak wrote this.
Walking through syrup or something. But the whole time I can feel the mass of the stone around me. And the longer I'm in there, the more it feels like it's trying to flow back in and occupy my space. To crush me.
I love
What if I
sci-fi
find
descriptions
something
like
to
that just feel organic
can help
and
you with that.
emotional and real.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives you like a visceral feeling like oh my gosh, like I can feel right now how that felt for her.
Yeah, as opposed to like, oh, I'm a ghost and I just slipped through that
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like, no, I feel it all around me closing in, and it adds so much tension. I also love the detail of Vincent taking off his collar because he's like, time to kick ass.
I'm not a priest right now.
All right.
Trying to tap into the old life.
Was there a reason that you made him come from the cartel and not just, have him have some other backstory? Or was the cartel going to play a role in something? Or did you just need something to make him,
Badass.
a tough guy? Yeah.
Well, we knew he was, recovering alcoholic, and we wanted to give him a dark past. And, it's one thing to just be a badass who knows how to fight. It's another thing to have been an enforcer for the cartel. Like, that really tells you he made some poor decisions, and he's not just tough, he's a killer. So, referencing the cartel just amps up the power of what he is. And then as soon as this guy sees it's Vincent, he's like, oh, yeah, like, yeah, whatever you need, I'll get it for you. Because that's the level of fear he commands. And you can see it on Tristan's face right there. Like, I didn't want to go back to intimidating people, but if need be, I'll intimidate the hell out of them.
And the earpieces? Yes, I'm not sure how they'll...
And probably
react
the
to
reason why
conflict
he got
conflict.
flagged for the OCS in the first place.
Yeah, well, it's, you get a lot of people in the church who are like, I've lived a terrible life, and I've sinned and I've sinned and I've sinned, and I need redemption. And so you get extreme redemption stories. And so we just thought it'd be cool if Duretti recognized his value and said, look, we can reform you, we can redeem you.
You stop moving. I'm lost.
Right.
Take 2 steps in any direction. Turn 90
And then
degrees
this,
to the
I
right.
kind of got
Going.
stuck with, Matt and I got stuck with having to do the
few more feet.
walking through
You can do this.
stone episode, So we had to make it as exciting as we possibly could, and we made it all about needing to access more power from the Halo, needing to access more of your confidence, facing your fear, and making it a character-driven accomplishment. And then these two, just the chemistry between them is just so amazing that
I'm in there,
it just feels so real and
You're draining the Halo's
emotional.
energy. And unfortunately, in this case, if you lose power,
We have a question of
Ava's little. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask. We had a question in the chat if Vincent was the one that killed Ava's mom in the drunk driving accident.
There's been some speculation.
Couldn't say for sure, but there was definitely the death of Ava's mother was definitely going to be explored.
Oh, okay.
But I couldn't say whether it was Vincent or not. Well, honestly, I don't know. I don't know who did it, but we were gonna tie that into future episodes. But we hadn't worked it out yet, or at least I wasn't involved in that conversation.
How is this even possible?
Were any of Ava's little jokes ad-libbed?
Why does everyone think I'm dead? What's the last thing you remember?
No, it was definitely written for a cocky American attitude. Even though, you know, Alba's from Portugal and speaks 5 different languages, she seems so American in this.
Yeah, she does.
So we really wrote, because we knew everybody else was going to be speaking in these elegant tones and European tones or whatever, and so we really wanted her to be brash and funny, and so that was written. But there were times when Alba would say, you know, can I say it this way or can I say it that way or whatever, and her instincts were always so perfect. So
Mary said that the Jurassic
Ava is an American as far as I
like it put its claws through you.
as far as it was originally written, Ava was an American, but she says we ended up in Spain somehow in season 1, but I can't remember exactly what she says. So you can believe she's from wherever, because she's definitely European, but it was always our impression that she was an American in the middle of a European adventure.
God granted you another life.
Yeah, they were on vacation, right? Thank you, Agnes. And poor Lilith just gets the wrong end of the stick every time. It's a shame.
Doomed by the narrative.
Well, doomed by the narrative and doomed by her ambition. It's eating away at her.
Catholic Nepo baby.
Catholic Nepo baby. You're right.
Yikes.
And how horrible is her mother in season 2? She's just...
Oh, she's so horribly good, though. That whole scene is like fantastic.
That actress was so great, and we just wanted to make her just the most infuriating mother in film history.
She's famous in Spain, though, isn't she? Because I think I've seen her in some other projects.
Oh yeah, and she was in one of the Terminator movies that's shot in Spain. No, she's a big actress. We had to work to get her. She almost wasn't available.
There's been some fandom speculation about who might play Beatrice's mother. Who would you have as Beatrice's mother if you could?
How is she?
In an ideal world, I don't know, Michelle Yeoh. She might be a little old for it, but
that was Christina's dream casting too.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Well, Michelle Yeoh is the ultimate badass.
Your name she called out.
Agreed.
For sure.
What are you afraid of?
Michelle Yeoh. Yo.
That line kills me. What are you afraid of? I don't know. Everything that's been trying to kill me since I woke up from the dead.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun of writing an outrageous story. And you want to have somebody going, well, she'd try to kill me like that.
What am I not afraid of?
I have a very good reason to be afraid. Don't forget.
And to help a church that didn't help me.
Sorry?
Stay with her.
And to help a church that didn't help me, but persecuted me for my entire existence practically.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it might help.
I also love the transformation of Camilla from season 1 to season 2. She's such a rookie in the first season. And as I said,
This is from a warrior nun called Sister
we intended to kill her at the end
We're
of
glad
season
you
1.
didn't.
I became the Warrior
We
Nun
fell in love
the
with
summer
her,
of
you know, fell in love with the
1942,
character, and then when we saw
following my escape from the
Olivia,
Dachau work camp.
it was
Wait,
over.
how could you be Jewish and a nun?
Definitely. All right, we'll be
People
quiet for this one.
persecuted others for being different, not just Jews. She was gay.
Oh, God. Nazis suck balls.
I would have cut the balls from that line,
Returning to occupied
but I
France,
didn't, so.
Mother Superior told us the Nazis were outside the parameters of our mission. She told me that my anger came from hate, and that hate was not within our jurisdiction.
Wait, are you translating that from French?
Pay attention.
Cool. Read on.
But
Meanwhile,
last
Alba
night,
speaks 5
I
languages
passed a group of
absolutely
ex-convicts
fluently.
carousing inside a French pub. I don't know what I thought I was going to do, but I went inside. A Nazi lieutenant asked me to dance with him. When I refused, he grabbed my wrist and saw the number they tattooed on me at Dachau. I let him see it. I wanted him to. He looked at me as if I was vermin. Juden, he sneered. 9, I replied. Lesbisch.
Lesbisch.
Sorry,
His
can you
friends
pause it there?
converged on me. I drew the holy sword.
I wanted to know what the German word for lesbian was, and I looked it up, and when I saw it, I was like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's going to be so cool. And the way Alba says it is just so exactly everything we wanted out of it, to just be like, that's badass. So anyway, sorry, go ahead. I love the
Gordon cut them
lesbish
down.
moment.
Yeah, she did.
But Mother Superior was right. Each slice was an act of hate. Hatred that they had made me afraid to be myself. So I raged in a rainfall of their blood, until the Nazi lieutenant aimed his gun at me across the room. I could not reach him. He said he would put me back in the camps himself. What happened next, I can't explain. At the thought of returning to the camps, I passed through fear, past hatred, beyond pain. The halo flared with a blinding light and emitted a blast unlike anything I had ever experienced. And the Nazi's bullets melted away, along with his gun, his flesh, and a good portion of the wall. I fell back in the collapsed ruins of the pub, drained. I have no understanding of what allowed me to conjure such energy. But in the moment, I felt unbound, unburdened. I felt finally myself.
Look at Christina here. Yeah, that scene and the next scene with them is mind-blowing. Changed the whole course of the series.
It's a master class, that's for sure.
I tried.
Why did you guys break up such an intense scene with this interaction with Vincent and Mary?
Weren't such a good idea.
I don't know. It was an editing decision. I wasn't
No,
involved.
I do. That's my point.
It's a long scene, and it's powerful, so maybe they wanted to
Talk about it?
extend it. Maybe they felt it was too overwhelming. I don't know.
Right.
A badass story of a warrior.
Plus, there's 2 sides to it. There's Beatrice telling the story, and then there's Beatrice
Your ignorance is
reacting
really
to the story.
a downer sometimes.
Hey,
True.
what's going on?
As usual, you've managed to miss the entire point. Sister Melanie tapped into something elemental in her soul. And it amplified the Halo's energy. If you want to pass through 20 feet of stone, you need to break through your own personal pain.
Okay, but
I'm going to pause it really quick. It's all
Yeah.
out of sync.
Oh, okay. So Beatrice is now deflecting all of this back onto Ava because she
Right.
can't take it, you know, and she's afraid of being found out. And so she puts it on Ava, and Ava is like, what? Well, I don't understand why are you getting mad at me? And then that really affects Christine. I mean, just the emotional back and forth between these two is
And I think at this
heart-wrenching.
point too, Beatrice hadn't been condescending. She had always treated Ava as a person versus how everyone else had treated Ava up to this point, including the other sisters. So her kind of dropping into this condescension and this like, what are you, stupid kind of thing, just threw Ava as a character of like, this isn't our dynamic. Like, why are you directing this towards me?
And that's part
undeservedly.
And that's part of what makes Ava realize what she's talking about.
This is personal, right?
Because Beatrice would never reacts with her emotions. You know, she always reacts according to the mission, according to the moment, what needs to be done. And this is the first time that cracks, and that's what twigs Ava. But again, this isn't Beatrice's coming out scene at all. It's her first brush with somebody validating her, but she's still not ready to admit it or say it out loud or anything like that, you know.
Right, that's a good observation of that.
Yeah, the original version of this scene, the guy they're going to see is a you know, he's a criminal, he's an underground guy, and he was a lot tougher, and he's like, you know, you're making a mistake and so on and so forth, and he had a lot more bite to him, so that he really deserved it when Vincent broke his bones. But it got a little tamed down in the execution.
Oh, the Vatican catacombs.
He's off painting.
He's just a bougie rich guy.
Bougie rich guy. He likes art.
He's wearing a robe during midday.
Right.
I didn't know it was stolen.
That's why you have it locked up.
So just so you guys know, we're not going to be unmuting anybody as speakers.
We wait.
If you have a question, you're just going to have to ask in the chat. Only the co-hosts and David are going to be able to be speakers on this.
We have the power.
Just running away from Beatrice.
I love this line.
Oh. Good luck.
You can't outrun Beatrice. Aw. Now that's clearly a behind the scenes picture because they had so much fun with each other.
Ava.
Did she take that from her funeral
Hey.
little stand or whatever?
Yeah, I think that was the implication. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you?
That's what I thought. I was like, people aren't just carrying Willow pictures around in their pockets.
No, I don't think we showed it, but I'm pretty sure in the writing that was the intention.
Okay, that's what I thought. Beatrice just loves to lurk.
The lurker. And then, you know, I had forgotten that Lilith and
Really glad you
Ava make it up and she redeems herself. And then we just turn her so twisted and that's just her fate.
She has a crazy twisted arc, and we really want to see where it goes.
Yeah, and she's so fierce, and just the cheekbones and the intensity, you know, she's just
All right.
so perfect to be the spoiler.
And Lorena's such a ray
yeah.
of sunshine. Which
Yeah.
is such a contrast to her character.
She is, yeah.
right. How far am I? 14 feet.
Concentrate. This wall is your fear. It's your deepest pain.
And we wrote this and we're like, how are they going to visualize this? And then Winston, the
I don't have enough energy.
visual effects producer, figured out this effect, and it really works.
It's not what's in your soul.
Right.
Yes,
I mean, it does make you feel claustrophobic when you're looking like it's all
Yeah,
around.
and you feel Alba's lungs getting constricted, and
What scares me? What scares me is being alone. Abandoned in some sick bed with no one to... With no one.
But that will never happen.
sorry, Phan, can you pause it for 1 second?
It wouldn't matter if you were quadriplegic.
So we had a whole years-long discussion about her being quadriplegic and, you know, this fear of going back to being paralyzed. But we also didn't want people who are paralyzed or have disabilities, to feel that that's, you know, a punishment, or that it makes you in any way less than. So we always tried to balance it with this concept that it wasn't the paralysis, it was the treatment she received. It was being alone. It was all those things. So we really wanted to make that as clear as possible. It was a difficult line to run, but philosophically, that's what we were up to. You could start.
And it seems like her stuttering on that also was like to be alone, to not have anybody, to not have love, or to not be loved by somebody else.
You would still have us.
Yeah, like
that's all her
and we will
performance. Yeah.
Leave you.
Yeah.
Say again.
Adds that extra element.
Well, I think you guys did a really good job with that line of loneliness versus
16,
paralysis.
17, 18,
Well, I hope so. We
nearly there.
wanted everybody to feel included and supported.
19.
For sure.
Yeah.
You made it.
Coming in clutch.
It was also really fun to work out the rules of the halo. So like if she expends this much energy, then it's out for a certain period of time. And that really plays into when she finds Adriel in the cave. Like she just can't do anything because she's blown all this energy getting in there.
We need to keep testing. Figure out how long it takes to
And that's when you're writing sci-fi,
it's
it's really fun to work out specific rules and limitations. Makes it cooler for the audience, for the story.
Yeah.
Like charging up your power move in like Mortal Kombat.
Exactly. Exactly. And everybody, all gamers
constantly.
get it.
Yeah. You can't just have the ultimate like kill move all the time. That's no fun.
Nope.
Finish him.
You gotta work for that fatality.
I was a kid. A runner for the cartels. Good, fast. Kept my mouth shut. Over time, they promoted me to
Also, if anybody is looking into writing,
the money was intoxicating.
I'm very proud of the way this script is written. Simple, compelling words.
Until I saw the
I was
light.
good, fast, kept my mouth shut until I saw the light. You know, like
I believe
everything is, you know, it's not overwritten. It's not too flowery.
the darkness inside of me had to be a demon. But the first warrior nun to look at me saw the truth. I had no demon. It was just me.
So was that Superior when he mentions the first warrior nun to look at me?
And now I fear that even if we destroy the
Because we know that they have a history, or at least a repertoire between them.
we rid the world of demons.
I don't know if the timeline works out that way. I mean, I would love if, now that you say it, that's the best choice. But Superior only had the halo for 3 months.
Only for 3 months.
I'm not sure if the timing works out, but if it did, I would definitely make it that it'd be
In our
Superior.
headcanon, it does.
Yeah.
That's now.
I would just take that as headcanon. Oh my god, I love
I guess
this.
it makes it better because
We're
Vincent
snapping.
could have helped her through that time of her losing the halo too.
Yeah, totally. Well, he was definitely there for that. Yeah.
I take request.
Right.
I request silence.
I think
That's sibling banter.
I think that was Matt Bosak who wrote that line. I think Olivia seems so credulous, like she just really wants to hope that it's true, that things will work out. So I think she convinces herself that it's true.
He looks rather smug here.
I found the tomb. 3 levels down. Now, most of this
Who,
area was
Vincent?
constructed during
Yeah.
the second period under Constantine, but
Can't you just point to it?
Yeah, he's complex.
the tomb.
Mary, cut to the chase, please.
Yeah, can't you just point to it?
Thank you for your help.
How were you able to find the map?
That's why I have the shotguns.
Mary, all of them are defined by their weapons, by their fighting styles. Shotgun Mary is a living shotgun.
Her covering for him was a really interesting choice, I think, too.
Well, she knows he's humiliated at having revealed that part of himself, and so she stands up for him. It's a nice character moment.
Ava.
And this, kid looks so much like Jack Malarkey,
Oh, it's crazy.
like Miguel
Dude,
from
yeah.
season 2. It's just stunning.
What's wrong, Mommy?
Definitely great casting.
I loved Miguel as well, but we were like, this show is about the women, so everything Miguel does goes wrong. He always needs to be saved. He always messes it up. I just thought that was a really fun, because he comes in and he just looks like an action hero, and he's tough, he's brave, he's all these things, but he's really just sort of a chump who gets kicked around by everybody. And I shouldn't call him a chump. He's
He's a punching bag.
He's a punching bag. Yeah.
He's just Ken.
It's Tristan says, he's not much of a fighter, but he can take a punch. And Tekla, the moment in season 2 when she sees grown-up Miguel, her acting is just shattering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, finally Ava gets some rest.
Right? No rest for the Warrior Nun.
This is not restful.
Is this like Warrior Nun limbo? Or is this just dream state? What would you say?
I think it's Warrior Nun limbo. I think she's actually communing with Shannon. And look at this location. This is Spain for you. Like, we need someplace photographic. And look at it. Put a couple of lights up behind the windows.
I wish I'd known you.
But yeah, I personally believe that this is Shannon reaching out directly. Sort of like the Avatar in Last Airbender.
Yeah, for
Ava
sure.
in the Avatar state would be something.
Right.
Not you.
David, do you think that Shannon knew that it was Vincent? Because she said, "Don't trust anyone," I believe. But
I think she said, "Don't trust him."
It was him.
She knew.
She knew. She had said a name.
Could have saved a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Would have made for a much shorter season.
One by one.
It's true.
For the mission. What's going on? What's wrong? How can I help you? How can I help you? Tell me what I'm supposed to do.
I'm sure, given that I initially wrote this, I'm sure she really, fell apart and cracked and there was goo. But they softened that up a little bit, probably wisely.
Stay back.
Let me help you.
You can't. Not with this.
Please tell me what you're doing.
I need to see if I can use the Halo to destroy Divinium.
Why?
Because if I can, then maybe I can destroy the relic of Adriel.
That was not the plan.
No, we have a plan. We'll find the bones, expose the ready, and the OCS can get back on mission.
The mission is the problem. Warrior Nuns dying one after the other. Who's next after me? You?
You?
All tender.
Probably.
If Shannon is right, and the relic of Adriel
It's
is
probably
keeping demons
Beatrice
on
is
Earth,
next.
then we have to destroy
This
the
is also
demons.
the point, is that she's a non-believer and
demons.
she's coming in with
No more warrior
ideas that religious people would never have come up with.
The cycle of death ends.
Needed a shakeup.
Yep.
We can stop this.
She just doesn't have all the information yet.
I'm going to be the last warrior nun.
I got goosebumps.
So good.
It's a good one. Do I know about the Father Vincent backstory theories? Probably some of them, but I'd love to hear them.
I think we already touched on the one where people speculate that maybe he was the driver who killed Ava's mom in the car crash.
Oh, I see that maybe he was drunk and did it like didn't do it on purpose.
Right. But because
Right.
in the first episode he says, well, maybe not so random and like something, maybe he knew Ava already or had seen her before or something. That kind
Well,
of.
I think
Yeah.
that also comes from like the 12, he says that it's like 12 years since he's taken a drink or whatever, something or rather, when he's talking and talking about his sobriety. And then like Ava's 19 when we meet her on her death certificate, and then she's 7 when the accident happened. So it kind of like people have been drawing that that's the time in between that maybe Vincent was, and because Vincent resided in Spain, that maybe that was the person responsible for her death.
Now that you say it like that, I suspect that maybe we did discuss that, and maybe we did layer that in on purpose, but I don't recall for sure. So that's up to your headcanon.
Well, very cool of people in the family to pick up on that if it was intentionally layered in like that.
Right.
I didn't catch it.
But speaking of other headcanons with Vincent, I think Phan is our expert in that as part of the Father Vincent fan club. So Phan, did you have any other Father Vincent theories you wanted to share with David?
I'm actually curious about the divinium tattoos. Were the divinium tattoos added in later to sort of act as a way to connect Adriel and Vincent in terms of communication, or was it always designed for his tattoos to be like that?
Yeah, no, like I say, we wrote all the episodes not knowing that it was Vincent, and then when we decided it was Vincent, we were like, well, how would Adriel have been able to speak with him? And so we had set up little Michael as getting divinium pumped through his blood, and that's how Adriel is able to, feed him the ideas for the portal. And since that was already set up, we were like, well, we need to give Vincent some sort of in-body divinium, and somebody in the room came up with the idea of divinium tattoos, and we were like, that's awesome. And we figured they would light up around, and they would light up around Ava. That's why he's got his sleeves down the whole time. So that was one of the things that we've sort of retrofitted in once we realized where we were going in the end. Would it also work if someone wears a divinium necklace or rings, etc.? Not necessarily. The two things that little Michael and Vincent have in common is that the divinium is in their blood. It's in their flesh. So that makes it particularly effective for Adriel to contact them. Because other people have, Ava's carrying around the divinium sword. Does that give her, we didn't say that gives her a direct line to Adriel per se.
Well, Andretti has the ring as well.
Right.
But that's also the reason why Camilla had to have the implant in her neck, is because it had to be in her body.
That's right. Yeah, she gets the cross in her neck, and then suddenly she can call Adriel out to her. I love that scene too.
Right.
I also want to give a shout out to William Miller, who plays Adriel. He's just so smarmy and disturbing and arrogant and beautiful, and it's just such a common. It's like what would happen to Jesus if he became a TikToker and got his head turned around by the fame,
That's such a great way to put it.
Jesus.
There was this moment we were shooting episode 7, season 2, where he's in his cathedral and he's got the Pope and everything, and they introduce him and he comes out into the crowd and he just kind of points to, he's like, oh, hey, there's that guy, looking good. And I was like, yeah, perfect.
He's insufferable. It's amazing.
He's insufferable. And then also my Hugo Boss scene is what we called it.
With those robes.
Suits.
Should I wear the suit or Messiah Classic? I just love how surface he is and arrogant about high fashion.
Well, especially after not being a part of civilization for a couple of millennia.
Yeah, it's just
like
he's like,
years.
oh yeah, Armani suits. Come on, why not? And it's so funny because William is not like that. William is just such a sweet, lovely guy who speaks fluent Spanish and fluent English, and just a really thoughtful, lovely man. But boy, he ate that part up.
So who decided to change the alcohol? So like obviously like Jesus turns water into wine, and then it's brandy, I think, right? That Adriel's drink of choice. Is that what it is in the episode in season 2?
Simon hates it when I do this, but I'm very proud of the things I wrote. I believe I came up with that. I just that, and then the idea that the whole time he was down there was like these casks of forgotten brandy just getting more and more mellow and more awesome through the centuries, and he could like smell them, but he couldn't get to them. And then, you know, he does the thing because I also love that line of Pope Duretti's where he's like, well, obviously anyone with the power to do the water glass trick, you know, can, you know, get what he wants on his own like that. And I just love because it's water into wine, but it's but I mean,
but not quite, because he's not quite Jesus.
Well, it's such a cheap magician's trick. It's so easy to do, and you know, but it's so religious. Yeah, I love all the elements of that.
It makes it for like a fun kind of mirror of those two things.
Yeah. Or he's got like a little trick cup that he bought at a magic shop or something. The other thing about Adriel that I love, and I talked to William about this, he says I could wipe the Vatican off the face of the earth with a wave of my hand. And William thought Adriel can do that. And I'm like, Adriel can't do that. If he could do that, he would do it. You know, he's lying about the things he can do. Some of the things he can do, some of the things he can't do. And I also love that element of it. You know, it's megalomaniacal religious fanatics saying, oh, I have the power of God. I have the power of this. I have the power of that. And it's like, well, maybe not.
Maybe. But yeah,
but he also wants legitimacy.
Technological.
He wants legitimacy. He wants people to be intimidated by him. He wants people to think, like all arrogant leaders of the church, he wants people to think he is God. And he's not God. He's just this weird creature who's got powers we don't understand. But William was like, no, I could wipe the Vatican off the face of the earth with a wave of my hand. No, you can't.
Would you call Adriel a sociopath? Do you think he falls into that category, or would you categorize him as something else?
No, I think well, what would have happened in season 3 is I think I've already said my idea for what I really wanted for Adriel in season 3 was that, you know, he said it can't be killed in this realm. So that's canon. Then he gets torn apart. So I thought it'd be really cool if they kept his head in a bag or kept it on a platter like John the Baptist. And, you know, and the whole time he's just like, I told you. I'm like, you thought I was bad. Now you got to deal with Rhea. And I was trying to save you from all of this. So I think he genuinely believes that he knows the bigger picture, you know, the galactic picture. And he knows that Rhea, or at least his opinion is that Rhea is a swallower of worlds, and better him to lead humanity than her. At the same time, he's an egotistical, you know, self-absorbed jerk. But like the worst thing he does, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is the superheated sunlight to really threaten people. But he's not really killing people. I don't think we really, I mean, until Duretti.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't really. I mean, we don't know Shotgun Mary's fate because it's not explicitly stated, but we know that like you guys had originally planned to have her captured. And
and what we imply is that she fought back and got killed in the struggle. It's not that he did it. So yeah, the idea was to really make him kind of an arrogant rock star angel hustler who genuinely thinks, you know, like, look, who better than me to run the show. And you people don't understand what's coming. You don't understand the threat that your world is under, so you better give it to me. So again, it's that Warrior Nun, shades of gray kind of thing. And plus William would have been so hilarious as they had the head in the bag.
Yeah, we would need him in season 3. That would, and anyway, even if it was just a head on a plate.
Yeah, you can't do it without
A
either.
Discovery of Witches actually did a version of that.
Oh yeah.
I think they had a vampire that's head was like, she was also kind of like an omnipresent, what would you call it? It was like in 300 where someone gives the Oracle.
The Oracle, yeah.
So kind of like an Oracle that they like kept in like this box or whatever. And
yeah, they did it. They also did it in
theories.
It was a head in a box in Doctor Who, and then Reanimator, I think, was maybe the first to do it.
Yeah. So it definitely is like a cool like pop culture kind of thing to bring in there. Would be fun.
It's very cool, but it also really goes towards, John the Baptist, whose head was served up on a silver platter.
Right.
And, so there's anytime there's a fun religious tie-in, I think that's pretty fun. Yes, in Adriel's mind, Rhea is the destroyer of worlds. But it could just be that, she's on the other side politically, and he just, has gone crazy and believes her to be the destroyer of worlds. Just because he says it doesn't mean it's necessarily true. And we didn't work out exactly what it was, but she was going to be the big threat through season 3, as far as I understood it.
Someone asked the question, if Ava could melt divinium like we just watched in the episode, why didn't she melt it in herself at the end of season 2? I think you have to not be injured to be able to have that draw power.
Yeah, she just didn't have any power left. And she was, once it's like kryptonite. Once you're poisoned by it, your power is diminished radically.
Yeah.
She's dying.
Depleted.
So I think I actually tweeted this question at you, but I'm going to ask you. In season 2, episode 7, Ava melts Vincent's tattoos, the divinium tattoos. We see her, falling to her knees, and he's standing up. But it's also a moment of sort of his, I don't want to say redemption, but his, I guess like his lowest point, but also, I don't know. Anyway, why was it that Ava was the one who ended up kneeling down? Why wasn't it Vincent giving himself up to the cause and to Ava?
Because Ava is struck. The idea was that Ava is struck by the intensity of the vision. Like, Vincent is acting as an antenna to connect her to Adriel, and the intensity of that drives her to her knees. And so that was the idea.
The mind fuck, pretty much.
Yeah, what Vincent's going through is sheer physical agony because this metal is melting out of his arms. But at the same time, he's stoic because he knows he deserves it. So I think that was the thinking behind it.
So again, tying into the tattoos, I'm sorry.
No, please.
Was the reason that Vincent was never embodied by or possessed by a wraith or any sort of mind control or whatever you want to call it from Adriel because of the tattoos, that it repelled them?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, you can't. They can't get through. They can't get through the divinium, but as we find out, the demons are on the other side of. Or no, the demons are on Adriel's side. But anyway, Adriel's the only one who can communicate through the divinium, and the divinium is deadly to demons.
Yeah, it feels important that it was Vincent's choice to like take the path that he took, and it wasn't because of any kind of possession or demon.
And it was indoctrination.
And I think once whatever Warrior Nun diagnosed him demon free, he was like, okay, then I'm going to get divinium tattoos to make sure it never happens. But of course, that also leads back to his downfall.
That's a really I would never have thought of it like that, that he used it as a defense, but ultimately it ended up being his kryptonite. It's like what led him to the dark side, essentially.
But it also allows him to punch Ava in the face. Because he's like, divinium tattoos, you can't phase through these. And then
right.
And then bloody nose.
Then she turns around the hat and she's like, okay, come on. Just so good.
I love that scene.
The hat turnaround is excellent.
That's pretty
So
fun.
to another question, this is more of a fun question, and it's about Duretti. If you had to pick a name for him, as they do when they become Pope, what would it be?
Smarmus? I don't know. Let's see. Arrogantus the first? I don't know. Some Latin. It would be. It would all. I mean, if we were going to do it, yeah, I would probably take the word pompous, look it up in Latin, and try to come up with something that plays off of that isn't as obvious as what I've been saying, but that if you really looked into it, it would say, he's an arrogant jerk.
It fits.
It does. So Mother Superior, we see her as the Halo bearer for a short time, and we see that she was very close with her Mother Superior. Was there going to be any sort of connection to the Mother Superior before her that gave us more sort of backstory and things of that nature on the OCS itself?
I'm sorry, was there going to be more about
the previous set
Superior?
Yes.
No. No, like I say, that's opening scene with Sylvia as the Warrior Nun was just a one-off. I mean, it opened up the history a little bit, and so we might have explored that down the road, but we never discussed any plans to do that. It was really just that Mother Superior ended up being the sacrificial lamb that caused the Halo to abandon Sylvia.
How much from season 1 to season 2 of Mother Superior was Sylvia's input on her character? She's very stoic in season 1, and season 2 she lightens up a lot.
Well, I think season 1, we're not sure. Like, at one point she's working against Vince. At one point she's working with Duretti, and we're not really sure what side she's on, and so we kept her a lot closer to the vest. And then in season 2, we started having her joke a little more, start to reveal, like we even put it in there where she says to Mina, don't apologize for your gifts, just use them wisely or whatever. And then we put in the script, and incredibly she winks. And so we were like little bits where she starts to reveal her personality. But what we didn't put in, that Sylvia put in, is the moment she dies and then Ava brings her back with the halo, and we put in that it erases her scar, but she realized it lifts all of her regrets. It lifts all of everything all of her guilt, everything she's been carrying around is lifted away, and she's a different person after that. Like, just in the performance, she's sitting on the couch, and she's in comfortable clothes. She got her legs crossed. She's smiling, and that was all Sylvia. That was all her playing reborn. And it's
no
brilliant.
habit, like she has shed her Mother Superior kind of
that's
persona.
Right.
And,
that's
and
right.
title also.
And to a certain extent, she's unburdened. She's seen death and been to death and back, and realizes what's important now. And then she uses that wisdom to pass it on to Ava, and her transformation, just character-wise, it's not in the script. It's just her, She's so brilliant.
Yeah,
I just loved her to death. I would hang out with Sylvia and just be like, you're awesome.
She is awesome. She has such a presence. She's very charismatic in person. Just draws you to her.
She is, and in person, she's so friendly and light and beautiful, and she's just a lovely person. And then she gets so severe as Mother Superior, and like she's just a brilliant actress. They all are. I mean, the casting was amazing.
Yes. So we see, I'm gonna tie this into someone's question who is in the chat. When Mother Superior loses the halo, is it because the halo rejects her or because she rejects it? In my mind, she's the one who rejects it.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think the halo rejects her, but we don't know why. We're trying to imply that the halo has its own agency, that the halo picks and chooses who it wants, who it will accept, who it won't accept, and we don't know the rules of that. So we wanted to make Sylvia, Mother Superior, say, I don't know, it was probably something I did. But that's a very human way to look at it. It's not necessarily that. Maybe it was that the halo thought it was Shannon's time and knew that fate would dictate that this course of action had to happen. I don't know. But I do think it's not Superior in rejecting it because she didn't want to give it up.
She didn't want to give it up, yeah.
She's sort of like, it's sort of like the Ring of Power. She loves being the Warrior Nun and would never give it up. Plus, it's incredibly painful. I mean, it's just such a brutal.
She plays the agony very well when it like falls out of back.
Oh, it's wrenching. Yeah, the halo's logic is not clear to human logic. We don't know.
It's very much like Thor's hammer. Like if it finds you,
right?
If it finds you worthy in a certain circumstance or whatever, that you can wield it.
That's right.
That it's different for every person.
That's right. There's also the possibility that the halo is not, like, Rhea didn't make it. We don't know where it came from. Could it come from, did it come from God? Is there a God above Rhea? Who knows? Is there another realm outside of Rhea? Who knows?
Right. Speaking of other realms, I had a question about when Ava puts on the crown of thorns and she's transported to this. I called it limbo just because I felt like that was like the most appropriate kind of way to explain it. Because it's not a dream state. It's not like what she had when she was seeing Shannon.
No, it's sort of an antechamber to Rhea's realm. And I don't know if
that's what I was wondering. If it's like that waiting place, because all of the Tarrasques show up. So it's like, is this the gate? Is this the gateway? Is this like, are they the gatekeepers of Rhea's realm? Are they trying to keep things in, or are they trying to keep things out, essentially?
That's exactly what we called them.
Okay.
They were the gatekeepers, and that's the gate. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because you have like these obelisk type of like imagery and stuff, and it's like very reminiscent of like ancient Egypt and that's kind of what they were.
And when they're there, there's no time limit. They will never get pulled back out of, like they get pulled back out of Earth at a certain points, but not there. That's where they're meant to be.
Cool. So we know that there's different planes of existence that the Warrior Nun universe exists in.
Totally.
So that is cool. That's cool to see. Would you guys explore other realms or worlds besides like Earth, Limbo, and Rhea's realm? Do you think it would be a really cool thing to explore?
Well, it could be, but you don't want to go too far into the realm of sci-fi. And sometimes I think we did, sometimes we didn't. The idea is, like, if you're super Catholic and you watch this show, you'd say, okay, Rhea's realm is heaven, Limbo is limbo, Earth is Earth, and maybe there's a hell. So basically, if it's suggested in the Bible, we might take a sci-fi view of that. But are we going to say there are multiple universes, like thousands of universes? Probably not, because that's not religious. It's not backed by religious tracts,
Right.
Like, you don't want to lose the metaphor of it.
Right. or Dante's Inferno kind of thing, where you have like these levels of intensity and things like that. I think would be like cool.
Now that we
That'd be
might do. Well, that I would
Right.
definitely do if we had the chance. Yeah.
And it's funny because Beatrice is mentioned in that too. From Dante.
She
Lord.
mentions Dante's Inferno. Well, you know what else I forgot
Beatrice
she
is
mentioned?
his love interest.
What do you mean?
In Dante's Inferno, Beatrice
In
is
Dante's
mentioned.
Inferno,
Oh, is she?
Beatrice is the love interest of Dante. So as he goes down the levels of hell, like that's his long lost love.
Oh, that might have been where her name came from. I can't remember who came up with it or what the reasoning was, but that might have been it.
Parallels.
Yeah, there's all
Fun
sorts
parallels.
of things to dig into for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, what was I going to say about that? Oh, the other thing I forgot that Beatrice says is, you know, it doesn't matter if you were this or that or a head in a bag. And I was
As
like,
soon as
oh,
possible.
we sort of tipped ahead a head in the bag thing before I
There you go,
thought of
yeah.
it for
Yeah.
Adriel, but I thought it was funny she mentioned it. I was like, oh my God, we totally have, you know, 2 seasons later have Adriel's head in a bag.
And this time he's the good
Definitely.
guy, full circle.
Right? Sort of the good guy, sort of the guy going, I told you so, and giving them information they need about the other realm or whatever. But he's basically just like, you idiots, you couldn't go with my plan. And now here we are, and I'm a head in a bag. Fantastic.
At the end of season 2, David, obviously, like, you know, Ava's gone through the portal, Beatrice and the OCS are at their new headquarters, but we don't really see what has happened with Arctech and with, you know, everything that everybody saw live streamed online. So what would you say would be the next step for, you know, Jillian Salvius and the aftermath of losing Michael,
Again,
having her company be the center of all of this craziness? Because we talked about in the other episodes that this outcome would have ramifications for the rest of the world. What would you have liked to see that, you know, coming to fruition for season 3?
Well, again, I probably talked too much about thoughts for season 3. I think Arctech is sort of trashed as a brand. And
bankruptcy.
I think, or just
Getting
get
sued.
shut down. I mean, I feel like that experience is so personally devastating to Jillian that she would probably withdraw even further into herself and do whatever it is that tech billionaires do when they're not tech billionairing. Or yeah, I don't want to say, because I'm going to come up with something really good and then people are going to be like, that's what it was going to be. And then
I think a lot
then
of
we can't
people
use it.
have like drawn in their own head canon or you know, kind of expanded in fanfic is that now that, because we could see that she had already accepted that Michael was probably not going to come back, but that they would always be connected. And I think that that relationship is really tender, and I really liked that part of the story.
Yeah.
But how Jillian might go and help the new OCS, because, you know, they're not connected like they were before with the Catholic Church. Or at
totally.
least that relationship has, you know, suffered an intense blow, and so I think seeing her take part of that would be, sorry, that's my but I think that would be really interesting to see from her.
You don't have to mute the little ones. Well, I think her primary goal would be, you know, Michael told her, a part of me will always exist. You know, you did that for me when you built the portal. And so I think she would hang on to that with a scientist's and a mother's fervor and not let that go. And she wants to figure out how that works in the real world. That's what I think the goal would be. So yeah, hooking up with the OCS would make sense.
Or her and Beatrice going on their own private venture to figure out how to get the portal back together. Not enough prayers in the world to get that thing started at this point, I think, though.
Yeah, well, now there's nothing to power it, but is there? I don't know. Again, I shouldn't speculate on season 3.
Well, we appreciate your optimism.
I don't know if it's optimism.
Well,
They live on in my head, and they live on in all of your heads, and so I would love to see it, but the practical writer producer in me is like, I don't know, it's not looking good.
Yeah.
yeah.
But